Hello everyone and welcome back to LSI Summer Season. We're today for the Saturday tier, the Miami Grand Prix, round 8, the finale of the summer season. Let's get it underway. We're in qualifying right now. JMO getting through the lap. And also, we don't have Zingy joining us today, as he is currently in on the action today in the Ferrari. Gonna try and put on a good show, of course. There's a bit of a championship at stake. Although, the only one that could fight back would be Dark Soul. I believe I don't think anybody else is actually around, but Dark Soul's not here. I don't think they're going to be joining for the feature race, and that's probably going to be it. As I finally do get my words muddled, get my words out there. JMO come to cross the line, and it is a provisional pole position. Lovely stuff, 28.4. Now, we might be getting JJ in for the sprint or the feature race. That'll be an extra car, of course. They will be driving whatever team is available, and obviously, as you can see, there are quite a few teams available. Aren't many drivers on the grid, but we can still have a decent race, I'm sure. Sorry for the little noise there, just having to sort something out. But JMO on pole right now. Davin, he's had some experience. He did the race yesterday, of course, in the Friday tier. And, he, what am I saying? Got P2 in both races, sprint and feature. So a lovely job from him. Hopefully we can see him get some more good points today to finish off the season. That'd be awesome to see for sure. And of course then we have Zingy, who has went and set at 28.7. They've done an improvement, of course. They've had to set 2 laps on these tyres. They have time to go out again. Liam just going into the pit lane there. Having issues with their game actually. Their game was crashing when it was in the menus, so I don't quite know why, but hopefully they've got it sorted, and so far it looks like it is sorted. Larlock on a lap, but they are on 2 lap old tyres already. I don't think they're going to be going to improve, although they were pretty close to their delta time as we saw them go into the sector. Now, where is the actual sector line here? I don't know. I think it's down in the middle of the straight, or is that the DRS zone? So I don't know where. We're in sector 2 right now. Where is that sector line? I guess it is then. I guess it is down the middle of the straight then. Nope, sector 3 is there. Okay, I guess the line's hidden by that green blob thing, and I think it's also hidden for sector 2 as well. So I'm not sure what the green blob things are. Are they speed traps? I'm not sure. Anyway, Larlock does get around, but unfortunately just making a mistake. They're going to have to go to the pit lane and have another go in a bit. Liam's on their way out. Gary, of course, in P4 right now, looking to finish off the summer season as well with Ferrari. Good to see them in. Although they are actually driving for Aston. They are actually driving for Aston, so all those points that they do score will go towards Aston. So they're not actually meant to be in the Ferrari, but it is what it is. Nothing we can do now. It'll be a little bit more strict going into the official season on what team you're supposed to be in. With the summer season, it's just going to be a little bit less strict with that kind of things, especially with the amount of drivers we've got in the lobby. But when we get into the official season, it will be a lot more strict. Now, Liam on their way to start another lap. They've got a couple more corners to go. And Matt Williams had a very good run back in Australia. Let's see if they can get up there again this weekend. The Constructors is close, but it's going to be very difficult for Williams to actually get anywhere near it. Of course, Larlock leading the way with Alpine. Alpine are doing a great job. Jacob coming in to the team later on as well, scoring some good points. Now, we have Liam on a lap, DRS line, got it done into turn 1 just before the curb. Lovely stuff. Go as late as you possibly can, though, with a very light car during this qualifying session. Slightly touch that inside line, run it wide to make sure you keep the traction down. Bring it as far right as you possibly can to open up the corner. It really does help the further right you can go. A little bit of understeering to that final S there. Now we go to turn 7. He's going to get DRS off his teammate here. A little bit of a slipstream train. Nope, they move out the way. They're not going to disturb him after all. DRS will be available. And then Liam will go down to the braking zone. Under the bridge he goes. Now through the technical section. A little bit of Baku kind of vibes around here. Up the hill they go. Over the curb. Nicely cut. Down to the back straight. Here we go. If you've got a good setup, you're going to gain here. You're going to gain a lot. You can run a pretty low setup around this circuit. On wings aerodynamic wise. You just have to get the rest of the car set up well. Looks pretty good. And here we go, round the final corner. And what's it going to be? Is it going to be an improvement? And it is by a fair bit. It improves ahead of Gary. But they're not going to be able to go any further than that right now. They still need about 3/10 if they want to get ahead of Zingy, who's on a lap, by the way. And they're going to be trying to improve this one, of course. We watch on board. Currently driving for Ferrari. And then we've got Dave in, of course. Actually, we will watch on board with Dave, and he's in P2 right now. Doing a brilliant job. We've got a yellow sector, as that is Gary, unfortunately, going slowly. Although they're on an outlap, so it doesn't really matter too much. And David comes around the final few corners. Is it going to be improvement? What's it going to be here? Across the line they go. And it isn't an improvement. They're going to go again. We'll watch on board with Zingy. Down the straight. Larlick rejoins the session. Didn't realise they actually left that one, unfortunately. Not ideal. Over the curb. Hoofs that curb there. Let's see how Jamie goes for it. No, he's hit the corner. He's hit the wall with the rear tyre. Doesn't get it round, unfortunately. And Jamie's going to have to back off on that one. Going to have to back off on that one. And Zingy, wrong way. Comes around the final corner. Here they go. Rides that curb on the inside and it's pole position, 27.7. Lovely, lovely stuff. Only driver right now in the 27s. And that is a 7/10 gap that Jamie would have to catch to Zingy. They're going to go out again and they're going to try and set another lap, interestingly, with 40% ERS. And they've lost the rear of the car anyway, and that's not going to help at all. 38% ERS is not going to get you to the end of the lap as well. Larlick goes through and they've rejoined on an out lap. Lovely stuff. Good to see them back in. Let's see what we can find with Larlick as well. Just needs to keep it together and hope that Dark Salt doesn't arrive, of course. So other than that, he'll be good to go. Philemon, of course, also the other one in contention for the championship. I think Igapro was pretty close as well, but both those guys unfortunately won't be making it. Looks like Dark Salt's going to be in the same situation. And Larlick, he's attended every single race except from the first race that we did in... What was the first race? Can't quite remember. My brain is completely gone. The first race, the Austrian Grand Prix, the sprint race, that's the only one that he hasn't competed in. And other than that, he's competed in every single race. He competed in the Austrian Grand Prix feature race. And then he's just scored consistent points race after race. Definitely deserve to be in the position that they're in. Comes around the final few corners to start the lap. DRS open. Into braking zone. Not going as far to the left as some may go. Getting turn 3 done nicely. Has a bit of a correction there on exit, so a little bit too nice. A tap of the wall, unfortunately, as the momentum drops down. And a big bit of understeer into turn 7 now. I don't know if they're in a bit of trouble with some damage. That could be quite possible, unfortunately. Gary into the pit lane. They've got Liam up ahead. Liam's just going to be moving out the way. I'm going to allow Larlet to get through. Might have even gained a bit of cheeky slipstream from that one, but I'm not sure if it would have been really enough. They carry on now into the third sector. They will head. Up the hill they go. Over the curb. Lovely stuff. Right, now into the third sector. Down the DRS straight. DRS open. Now, and just a waiting game until the line. You've got to get to that final corner, focus on it nicely. They make the corner, no lockups. Slap touch of the inside, get the car rotated. Now to the inside line, and what's it going to be? It's going to be a half a tenth improvement. Won't be enough to get ahead, unfortunately. A second down on Gary. But it's still a good shot. We've got Liam in P4 right now going for a lap. Right to that inside curb. Haven't really seen many drivers do that. That is a Ferrari moving out the way. And Zingy exits the pit lane. I believe it was Zingy. And Liam manages to carry on through. Doesn't get impeded after all. And they carry on nicely. Through 7th. Now up to 8. 8 corner. DRS straight. Been a lot through here. You really risked it. Into the braking zone now. Heading through the Baku section. The randomized section, as some may call it. A little bit tentative on the curbs, I admit. A little bit tentative. But still, they get through it tidily. And that's going to be better than getting it through very, very rough. Down the straight they go. Into the final corner they go now. And on the power. Across the line they'll go. What's it going to be? Is it going to be an improvement? And it isn't an improvement. They're going to have to go again if they want to go again. J-Mo getting through turn 7 nicely. Down the DRS straight. Getting a lot of time from here, as we've already said. And through they go. Through they go. Watch on board as they head through the corner sections. Cuts that inside curb nicely this time. They get through. Very, very good indeed. Now through the final few corners. Down the straight they go. Power down. DRS. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? Into the braking zone. Lovely, lovely stuff. Right on that 100-meter board. Perhaps that inside curve as well. Out through the final corners. Across the line. Is it going to be an improvement? And it is going to be provisional pole position. Provisional pole position. Lovely stuff. Will Zingy be able to challenge here? He's right behind. About to go for another lap. That is it for qualifying. This is his final run. He has to make it count. Down the straight. Into the braking zone, and he's missed it! He's missed the apex! He's missed the apex! He can still gain, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Round the final few corners he goes. It's not enough, and it's not enough to even improve. He misses the apex, and he makes a big mistake in the end. Oh, no, no, no. What a shame. What a shame. What a close call. Davin's got one final run. Says that he's improving right now. Can he make it work? I think this might be the grid if David can improve. Larlick was going yellow earlier, and he does improve to third. Lovely stuff. Indeed. The top three, Jamo, Zingy, Davin, followed by Liam, Gary, and Larlick, of course. He couldn't do enough, making that mistake as we headed into the final corner. I don't know if that was enough to lose them the lap. It was quite a significant gap to lose, of course. That's 3/10 in it. So it's a fair bit of time to lose. I mean, I guess they could have. It was quite a miss of the Apex, and I'm not trying to blame anything here. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just trying to figure out where they've lost that time if they were on for pole position. They would have had a good shot, but obviously the points are in the race. The sprint race is going to be very helpful for the future. Jamo takes pole position, Zingy in P2, and then David in P3. Liam, Gary, and Larlick rounds off the grid. Looking at the race director, we can see, just in case we need to, probably won't. And we'll see you in a bit for the sprint race. Hello everyone and welcome back to LSI Summer Season. We're here today for the sprint race of the Miami Grand Prix for the Saturday Tier Championship. The title may well be decided, but we can still have a good race on our hands. This man's on pole position, Jamo, followed by Zingy in P2. Then we have Davin in P3. Then we have Liam, Gary and Larlick finishing off the order. Only 6 drivers, but we can still have a good race. The strategy is looking like a straight medium. No pit stops needed, of course. And I also want to apologise. I actually had the telemetry up on the screen earlier. I didn't mean to. I didn't realise I had it on. I do beg your pardon. So apologies for that one. We've turned it off for the race. Obviously important information that drivers may not want to be given out. So we will let that slide for now, and we will get on for the 10-lap sprint race. All on the medium tyre. Let's actually have a look. I assume we're all going to be on the same tyre. There'd be not really much reason to go for anything different unless you really wanted to risk it on the softs, but I don't think it would be that beneficial. And for the final few corners to go, Demo has sped off a little bit on the formation lap, of course. Zingy's actually made a mistake and they've gone down. They re-overtake, so they get that done, and we will shortly be going. So hold your breath, clench your butt cheeks, because we're about to go racing for the Miami Grand Prix. Ready, hold, go! Can J-Mo get off the line? Is it going to be possible? I think he gets up pretty nicely. Here comes Ziggy on the inside. Is he going to be able to get it in the brakes? Not quite. There's contact. Ziggy has to back off. David's going to come through side by side as they go through turn 3. Forced onto the curb and he gets a bad run. What a run there for David. He's made it up. Gary's right behind and Ziggy did not get away well there. We have Larlock up ahead of Liam right off the line as well. Well done to him making that move. Going to get an extra point, of course, but we'll have to see how it plays out later on. What a start. J-Mo gets away well, and Zingy a little bit hectic. Of course, he made that mistake into turn 1, had to back off, then lets Davin go, and Davin's actually backed off, or did they just overtake them on the straight? I didn't quite see that. We turned the corner there, and they were all of a sudden ahead. So that is Zingy now back into P2. Davin sits in P3 right now, and he's lost that position, but he can still be in for some good points. Yesterday, of course, 2 second places, which definitely helps him a lot. J-Mo now going to be under threat as Zingy's brought it back. Only 7/10 behind, and he's going to try his best to hold on here. Leads at the end of lap 1. Another lock up into that final corner there for Zingy, actually. So Zingy might be struggling on the brakes slightly. J-Mo's up ahead, gets that fastest lap. Of course, they do lead the way. Fastest lap will be in contention later on into the Grand Prix, as that is Gary having to go defensive to try and hold off Liam. Liam wants to have a go, but side by side they go with Larlock, actually, and Liam can't quite find a way through yet. He's going to have a look. He's going to try and pressure Gary here. Gary's going to have to back off, but Larlock backed off, and they've understeered. Had to avoid Gary. Larlock backed off there, and Gary was trying to go around the outside. Liam didn't expect that, and unfortunately, that's both of them rounds. So Gary is going to be down the order, and that was not what we want to see. 8/10 ahead now, so the gap's slightly gone up here. Zingy needs to hold on, of course, for when that DRS comes in, and that will be much more beneficial when you think about getting the long game and making overtakes, of course. When I talk about the long game, it allows you to save a lot. Zingy very quick in those corners. Very, very good indeed. And J-Mo gaining time on the straights there. Zingy's not letting it go too hard though. JJ does join the session. They'll be in for the feature race. Sorry for the delay. Sorry for the delay. Alrighty, we're good to go. Zingy actually leads the way. Sorry for missing that one. Had to quickly check something out there. I do apologise very much. I'm sorry for that. DRS now available, will be available for J-Mo. Used a little bit of ERS, used a bit more. Not got any left. He gets the DRS to help him. Round the outside, Zingy's going to try and hold on as they go to the inside. Go defensive. You know, Zingy knows he will find a way through, even if you go defensive. Can't quite get through this time, though. Has to just hold off. And a little bit of a mistake there for Zingy. He has to then ride that final curb. And it does chuck his car around a little bit. Davin's right behind these guys, just waiting for them to make a big mistake. And he will be able to capitalise on the battle, of course. Now, Zingy, will he try and fight back? He's going to have to wait for the next lap, but ERS is at a premium here. Alrighty. Looking good for now, looking good for now. Now, Zingy just in a bit of a sandwich here. Davin sits behind these guys. You can see both of their lights are flashing, and that'll be a benefit to him. He still needs to hold on to the DRS train if he wants to be in contention for some positions though, of course. DRS is very powerful around any circuit in the F122 game. DRS not so much. It's pretty ineffective, I will not lie, and it's a key part to allowing drivers to overtake. Obviously, DRS does help and it allows you to save a little bit, but these days ERS is just so powerful and you really need to save it. It's a lot harder to regain as well. It's a lot easier to use. Use a little bit, use a lot. Back in the old game, you could manage it a lot better, but just about adjusting in this new game. And Zingy once again catches up nicely into the corners. Lovely, lovely stuff for him. DRS available. Goes defensive to JMO. Zingy's still going to have a look for the inside, but this time JMO does manage to hold off, and he has to take a little bit of avoiding action as JMO dives to the outside line. Now has the inside. There's contact between the two. It's very, very close. Zingy had to go wide to the outside on the traction, of course. JMO doesn't want him to have the inside line. Could compromise himself if he's not careful. This is what Zingy wanted him to do. He's going to get a lovely run. Might even have a go. He makes a mistake. There's contact on the rear. There's contact on the rear. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Zingy's going to be furious with that one. I'm sure he knew what he was doing. He wanted JMO to go defensive, and then he was going to get the switch back, but there was contact as JMO loses the rear, a bit unstable into turn 3 as they go as tight as they possibly can, of course, with a little bit of a jeopardized line into the corner, and unfortunately that does mean a slight bit of contact. Luckily it's only a nose tap. It's not enough for a wing damage, and they will get away with it, although they are a little bit off pace into the final part of the lap. They will catch up again, I'm sure, and they'll need to get in the groove. But David was very, very close there. Now, Zingy around the final corner again, once again, right at the gearbox of the Williams. So, so close. DRS will be available. No ERS for either driver, and they're just going to have to hold on for now. The train carry on. Choo-choo all aboard. Zingy, is he going to go to the outside? Yes, he does. Davin's just going to have to react to these guys, and Zingy's going to get that wider line compared to JMO. We'll watch on board with the Alfa Romeo. He actually has a look on Zingy there. Zingy's going to have a go here. Going to have to go to the left-hand side as JMO still trying to hard defend that line, and he wants to go around the outside. This time he's done it. He has it. David's going to try and get through. I think he might have a go here. JMO has the inside line. He's probably going to get the run. It would be smart for him to back out, but no, he's going to hold it. There's contact between the two. There's contact. There's understeer, and he's round. Down the order he goes. He had nowhere to go, and he's going to lose that one now, down to P3. Larlock's going to be close, and with those hot tyres that JMO will have, it's going to be pretty tricky to keep it in a straight line just for a little bit, but they'll get back into the groove. That's not what we wanted to see at all. Not what we wanted to see. That's, would have been a good battle. Been nice to see it to carry on to the end. David's made a mistake as they lose the rear slightly, hits that second curb, and that's going to compromise them a lot. And of course Zingy now leads the way. DRS will be available for the Alfa Romeo, and he will now have a shot at looking for a victory here, and it would be pole position for the feature race, of course. He'd start on that front row. David has won a sprint race. They won it back in Bahrain against Dark Salt. Very good battles back then. Can he do it again? That was in the 21 game. This is the new era. He needs to win in the new era at some point. Can he get it done? Only time will tell. Lap 7 out of 10. We are running out of time, and Zingy is running away. Very, very close to losing that DRS, especially when we get into the DRS section, the S section, where Zingy is just so confident. But actually, they even gained time on him in there, and lovely stuff. On to the DRS straight, he will catch back up, but it just seems Zingy is so confident in the tight chicane, and he's able to get through that like it's nothing. David had a bit of a struggle. We'll watch on board and see once again, just to try and back up our theory. Maybe we're wrong here. Now, they get through. Bit of understeer, going to take a very late apex. Still can be a strategy here. Goes up the hill. Does ride it nicely this time. Very, very smooth. And that will help them a lot. DRS available. Down the straight they'll go. No overtakes will be done for now. Way too far behind. But he's still holding on to the train. Demo extending the gap nicely to Look, he's holding on. And it's a heck of a shame to be in that position. He hadn't lost too many positions, but obviously a win is a lot better than a P3. They don't want to be in P3. They want to be winning. They knew they had the pace. And unfortunately, it just didn't happen. Fat Tortoise will join us for the feature race as well. That's good to hear. But yeah, JMO unfortunately down the order. And they're going to have to try and find redemption in the feature race. So that is the benefit of the sprint weekend, of course. You will still be able to gain. It's not over until it's over. The feature race, of course, is a lot longer, so there's a lot more strategy involved, and safety cars could be a factor as well. So, yep, you can definitely lose a lot in the feature race, in a sprint race, but you be able to gain it all back. So it's not worth giving up just because it's a sprint. Holding on nicely. Top two still within DRS of one another. Not going to be battling at the moment. Once again, Zingy does just about enough. Did he do enough to actually escape DRS? Watch that wing. Is it going to go up? It doesn't go up, so he's escaped it just about by a very small margin. Well done to Zingy there. And he's going to be able to pull away a lot easier, although David does seem to be pretty quick in a straight line right there. Of course, he had to save, or he was able to save that ERS back when Zingy and JMO were fighting up ahead of him. But Zingy now, he's going to be in a pretty good position. I think, of course, David did manage to gain DRS just there. Can he get it into the S section as he did last time around? Is it going to be possible? 1.1 seconds is the gap. We head into the S's here. To the left. Once again right, and now into the left again. Is David going to be able to do it? He gets so close, but he loses it on exit. I think, I don't know. Did he do it? Did he do enough? Watch that rear wing. It's not. It's not enough. It's not enough. He's not going to take DRS. He gets so close, but I think he's just going to have to miss out, and Zingy is doing enough by the smallest of margins to hold on. Fair play indeed. Zingy looking for another win here. Can they make it 4 out of 4? They didn't get the pole position like they did yesterday, but they could still possibly take a win, as Evan has a bit of a moment on the rear. That's going to lose him quite a lot of time, as you can see, and that is probably going to make it more defined that Zingy will win this race. Of course, Zingy has to still make it to the end, and David could be there to pick up the pieces if there is a mistake from the Ferrari. Of course, we saw that mistake in the qualifying session into the final few corners. Zingy outbrakes himself and unfortunately misses the apex. Anything like that, David could gain on, but right now, I think it's going to be it. He's not that close, and Zingy's only escaping further on. He's got all the confidence in the world. He loves the circuit. It's his favourite. Almost like his second home. He's doing a phenomenal job. And in the Ferrari. In the Ferrari. Did it in the Red Bull yesterday. Looking for a Ferrari win today. And I think it's going to be possible. The final few corners left to go, and he will win the Grand Prix. Speeches all over the place, and I do apologise for that, but I'll try and get on top of it as we carry on into the final race of the season, and there'll be a little bit of a break. You won't have to hear my horrible voice for a while until the next official season. We might do some other races, of course, in between. But more focus on this guy right now. What a race he's had. Well done, indeed. Bit of a tricky start, but he's recovered nicely. He's going to come around the final few corners. He won in a Red Bull. He's going to win in a Ferrari. Ziggy comes around the final corner to win the Miami Grand Prix. Davin is going to be in P2, and then JMO is going to hold it in P3, and he's going to come back for the feature race, I am sure. We'll see him in a minute. Larlock is going to take a P4 here, and he's just a bit of a step closer to take the championship. I think he might even have it at this point. Quite possible, of course. Darkzot hasn't joined yet, and yeah, no, that does confirm it. Larlock is the Saturday Tier champion. Well done indeed. Very well deserved. What a guy. What a guy. Mr. Consistency himself. Alrighty. Zingy getting that drive of the day. Fair play indeed. Takes the win for the sprint. We'll have a quick look at the results just so we can get that fastest lap in, of course. And then we will have a look at the race director, although get ready for a game bug here. There you go. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to view it once again. But we will see you in a bit for the feature race. Hello everyone and welcome back to the final race of the season, and I mean it this time. This is the final race of the Saturday tier of the summer season entirely. The Miami Grand Prix, the feature race, is here and underway on the formation lap right now. Zingy takes the win for the sprint race, puts himself on the front row for the feature race, of course. And then we have David in P2, and then we have JMO in P3. Followed by Larlock, Gary M, Liam, JJ, and Fat Tortoise do join us in the Mercedes teams, of course, P7 and 8. Good to see them. Now let's have a look at the tyres. We have Zingy, Davin, JMO, all on the medium tyre. We then have Larlock on the hards. We have Gary on the hards and Liam on the hards. So they're trying a different strategy here. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. JJ going for that medium tyre. It's a pretty standard one to start the race on. That Tortoise, however, is trying something very, very different. They're on the soft tyre, and I do hope that Fat Tortoise can bring it through here. I do hope that they can bring it through here. Of course, last time, yesterday, we did see them have a bit of an issue. It's not what you want to see. There's a bit of a crash that they got caught up in. Wasn't their fault. And yeah, they had to pay the price. So hopefully they can get into this one and have a good time. JJ lining up the back of the grid right now, but they'll be in for it. And yeah, bit naughty there for JJ. It's going to have to be noted. But it is what it is. Alrighty. Hold your breath, clench your butt cheeks, because we're about to go racing for the Miami Grand Prix. Ready? Hold. Go! Will Z get off the line this time? Can he get it on the start, or is he going to bottle it again? I don't believe so. He gets a lovely launch. David P2. Oh, JMO trying his best to get into that top second spot, but it's not possible. And we have the other Ferrari, Gary, getting a decent launch as well. And that is Larlick right there. We got JJ, I believe. Is that JJ in to P6, and Liam, unfortunately, in Fat Tortoise, losing out off the start line there. Liam on that hard tyre, no surprise, but do they have damage? They don't have damage. I expected the hard tyre to do that. Unfortunately, that is Fat Tortoise into the wall, losing the rear, not ready for those soft tyres. Unfortunately, maybe the setup is a little bit too aggressive. That's JMO, very, very close to the back of Davin, and he's going to go round the outside. There's contact between the two. Contact between the two. Fat Tortoise retires from the session. That's going to be that one. JMO and David make contact. JMO manages to keep it in a straight line. Unfortunately, David drops to the back of the grid right behind Liam here. That is not what they want to see. They're going to have to try and make their way back up the field. They're going to push here to try and get ahead of Liam, because they have to on that medium tyre. But Liam is absolutely rapid in a straight line, and I don't think they're going to be able to get past just now. They're going to have to wait for another opportunity. Very close on the brakes, of course. Very confident on the brakes. But nothing available just yet. Liam's very close to the back of JJ. He might even want to challenge JJ if he gets closer than that before David can actually get to him. Is it going to be possible? Now, in the next few corners, got to continue going. That's a mistake, and that is Gary down the order. They were very close to Larlick. I thought we might have been able to see a bit of a battle, but unfortunately, we will not see a battle. We're going to get onto the straight here, and we will see JMO and Zingy continue their battle, closing up to the rear of that Ferrari. Is he going to be able to make it around the outside? Doesn't go to the inside. Of course, he is defending hard for Zingy. Zingy doesn't want him to have the inside line either. Zingy holds on. Brakes late. A switchback is possible. Can he go around the outside? I don't think so. It's so difficult to get it done. And also, at this stage of the race, it's not worth the risk to do something like that. They just need to try and keep it civil. Keep it going. Get towards the later part of the later stages of the race, and then they can have a bit of a shindig. Zingy goes to the inside line, defensive. JMO might have a look to the outside line here. No, he's going to hold it to the inside as Zingy takes the racing line. There's almost contact. They both understeer. Zingy brakes late to leave the space. JMO brakes too late. And there's almost contact between the two. They might even be contact there. JMO gets fastest lap, but Zingy did manage to gap JMO there. Lovely stuff for Zingy, but not good for JMO. DRS is now available. Is this Zingy's chance to escape the DRS here? If JMO can get this perfect, he will be safe. But I don't know. He could be in a bit of trouble. It's all very close, and that's too close. There's contact. Liam, David, rounds. Damage for both of them, I think there is. There's going to be a safety car inbound. It's going to be a VSC. It's going to slow these guys down. They're going to have to wait for now. That's not good for JMO. He wanted to get through on the DRS zone. He's going to have to wait for a bit. JJ and P3, he's going to be able to relax after escaping that DRS zone of Larlick, of course. Gary in P5, and then we have David, unfortunately, with that damage, followed by Liam, of course, as well. David, just keep it to yourself and we'll talk about it later. I don't want any petty insults, please. Thank you. Doesn't help anything. Just makes it worse. Zingy gonna be leading the way for the VSC. When will it end? Of course, it's only just come out. Be pretty unfortunate if it does end as we get to the later parts of the lap. Having to catch up the delta there is Zingy. I wonder how they're going to play it. He's pushing now, so it might be that the delta is ending. VSC is ending, I would assume, if he's going to do something like that. Into the first corner, and he does do it very, very nicely. This is well played here for Zingy. 8 tenths instead of 7, and he's lost the rear! He's lost the rear! JMO makes the mistake! And they put themselves out of contention, and they've reset the track. That's an instant 10-second time penalty for JMO there. JMO is in big trouble, and if they do now have any chance at going for the win, it's going to be overshadowed by a 10-second time penalty. They now have to win this race by 10 seconds. They're losing the rear of those hot tyres after that spin. JMO's in big trouble here. In big, big trouble. Davin gets the new front wing. So does Liam. Contact between these two guys, of course. And Liam making another mistake, unfortunately. But they should be good to carry on. They've got a full front wing. And hopefully they can just get some laps in. Keep it consistent. JJ finds himself in P2. After all of that, JJ's in P2. Larlock still quite close behind. JMO makes the move on Gary. Might even have a look. No, not on Larlock just yet. They're going to have to wait for a minute. They'll be close. They're going to send it. They've completely outbroke themselves there. Not sure what they were thinking. They're going to go off the circuit and they're going to undo all of the work that they've just done. They're going to have to lose it all. And they will lose a lot of time to Gary. Going to have to close up, get that DRS. And they're in big trouble there. They're in very, very big trouble indeed. Gary not got DRS, and that's Lala. JJ's round. JJ is round. Such a good opportunity in P2. And now it's all gone horribly wrong, and Larlock finds herself in P2. 12 seconds behind Zingy. Zingy is absolutely storming away with this one with a 12-second gap. He doesn't need to risk anything. He's just got to hope there's no safety car. And then he will be good to go to the end of the Grand Prix. JMO is already closing up to Gary here. They've got DRS. They just need to hold on. And then they'll be good to go. Gary. He's got Larlock up ahead. He's going to be able to get some DRS off of this one. JMO's going to have to fight for the DRS, and I think he will do. He's going to be pushing already. So lovely, lovely stuff there for JMO. Into the DRS zone they will go. And this time, JMO makes the move. They're not greedy. They're not going to try and outbrake Larlock. They're just going to hold it, but they made another mistake. They lose the rear, and that's going to be more trouble. More trouble. I don't know what to say. I think they're, unfortunately, going to have to maybe try a different tyre. Nope, they've rage quit. That's it. That's them out. No points for JMO. They will be DSC'd from this Grand Prix, and that's that one done. That is that one done. Zingy leads the way. It's a Ferrari 1-2 with Gary in P2, as Larlock's made a mistake now. JJ's close up behind. And he's going to be closest to make an overtake here. Could be in for this one. Could be in for this one. Not yet. Going to have to hold on for a minute. Oh no, a mistake for Gary. He's into the wall. I wasn't watching. A mistake for Gary. He's going to drop down to P5, provisional P4 of course. Zingy going for a fastest lap. Just by the way, enjoying his time right now. Gary, the Ferrari 1-2 is now gone. JJ and Larlick will still fight, although it looks like JJ just lost DRS there. And Larlick is going to be in P2, loving it. 25 seconds behind Zingy, however. DRS available here for JJ. Lock up there. I don't know if that's just a spectator glitch. Gonna have to hold on for now. Gonna have to hold on for now. Second time penalty, 5-second time penalty for Liam speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately. JJ going to be looking for a move here. Can he get it done? I mean, he's close enough, but he's just not fast enough in a straight line. He's just not fast enough. Which is a little bit strange for JJ. Alrighty. Still close. 6 tenths behind though. Look at that straight line speed difference. He's not going to be close enough. Although, we do see now a red flashing light from Larlick. And that could mean a world of difference here for JJ. JJ could be in for a final fight. This could be finally a good point for him. Is it going to be possible? In that Mercedes. Just going to wait for the next DRS straight. And then blast the ERS. Larlick, with that red flashing light, they're going to be in a bit of trouble potentially. And the Mercedes will try and challenge. For the S section they go. On to, of course, I don't know, what would you consider the main DRS straight? Very close JJ as he catches up, taking very different lines through that corner. JJ will catch up. We'll watch on board with the Alpine. DRS will be available. ERS will be available. Is he pushing on it? I don't know. Is he just sat behind at this point? I don't quite know. He is very quick though. He's going to have a go into the braking zone. Very wide to the outside. Larlick holds to the inside line nice and tight. JJ's ahead. Very, very nicely done. Textbook move. The Mercedes is through. He will take that through the chicane. There you go. Lovely stuff. JJ into P2. Zingy sets a fastest lap of the race. Alrighty. JJ finds himself back up to P2, makes that move. Larlick loses DRS just about. Fair enough to JJ. Makes it work. And now he could look for a P2 if he can keep it together. That mistake, unfortunately, I think it was at the beginning of the lap. And that's where quite a lot of people have made those mistakes. Gary seemed to make their mistake in the final sector, of course, as they went up to the chicane. So not quite the final sector, but very close to it. David catching up to the AI car of Jamo. And they're going to be looking to make the move here on this lap. Of course, 75% AI. Should be pretty easy to pass. As he catches up significantly, of course, into the braking zone. Go to the AI car. And, of course, the AI car moves out the way as they go through the chicane. And that's that one done. up the order they go. Not going to get DRS off the AI car, but they are going to be able to make that extra position. It was already 4th, but they're just going to secure it even further, and they'll try and catch up to Lalek and see if they can get a podium hit. Lalek 1.8 seconds away now as JJ extends the gap. Alrighty. And that's unfortunately Gary retiring from the session. That's an out. I don't think we're going to get to see what goes on here. But that's Gary out the final corner. So they've lost it on the rear and binned it on the left-hand side of the circuit. I mean, I'm going to say easily done. It's interesting to do though. You can lose it to the left-hand side pretty easily. I don't know how far you will be able to lose it to go to the wall, though. That's quite a lot of speed you'll be carrying. That's quite a send. Zingy is now on P1 and getting another fastest lap, almost lapping Liam at this stage of the race. Liam's got that 5-second, of course, as well. So they're in a bit of a pickle at the moment. Watch on board with Zingy right now. Doing a great job in the Ferrari, the lovely red car. Down the DRS straight they go. No DRS for them. And what they'll be hoping is that they don't get DRS because they hope they won't drop any further down the order. And if you look at the gap, 35 seconds, they're currently in a good position to make an actual extra pit stop here. So they could stay on. And they could look for a very different strategy. Might even go for a medium soft here. That would allow them to go for some very quick laps. But also, they could probably just take it onto the hards and make the safer run, the safer strategy, and secure the win in the bag. I think that would probably be what would suit them most, and that would be another win for the Miami Grand Prix. Let's see if it is possible, of course. Another fastest lap there for Zingy. Is that 3 fastest laps in a row? 4 or 5 fastest laps in total. Recently, at least. But he is pretty rapid. And despite the tyre age being a problem, the car's getting a lot lighter. And of course, they're in clean air, so they're able to just get in a rhythm, focus, and slowly chip away. And of course, they don't. Well, they're not using ERS. So, of course, if they use ERS on one lap, they're going to find it very hard to improve later on. But if they're just going to chip away at normal laps and they're not going to use any ERS, they will be able to get these slight improvements lap after lap. No, that's not good. That is not good. Liam makes a mistake. Around the final corner we see, and unfortunately that's a front wing loss. Liam's not going to be happy with that one. They're going to get back running, but they're going to have to make a pit stop. A trip to the box, unfortunately, and going to have to maybe make a early decision to go onto the mediums. Nope, they've retired from the session. That's them done. They will not be scoring any points for the Williams team. They wouldn't anyway, but they're not going to be scoring any points for themselves. And that's that. That is that one done. Alrighty. 5 races remaining from the session. 4, of course, actually. So unfortunately, it's half the grid out of this race. does mean everybody in this race right now doesn't really need to risk much. Of course, David needs to try and get ahead of Larlick. Larlick needs to try and hold on to the podium. And they're not too far away from JJ, so they could have a quick look at the Mercedes later on. They're on the hard tyre. They started on the hard tyre. They're going to be on the faster tyre later on. JJ starts on the mediums. They're going to be pretty consistent towards the end of the race. So it's really who works best on the tyres and who's going to do the... No, will the mediums switch on later for JJ, or are the mediums going to be just good to go to the end for Larlick? I'd say I put my money on Larlick probably, because the mediums will just be good to go to the end. It's a pretty safe strategy, a medium, hard, medium. And if you can make the hard medium work, which Larlick's doing right now, it will significantly benefit you. The risk you run, of course, is that a crash at the start of the race, and a crash at the start of the race, it just means that you've used your hard tyre, you've used that long distance tyre that you're supposed to go on, and you're going to have to make an unscheduled pit stop. If you started on the... well, not in the 22 game at least, but if you started on the medium tyre, you might have a bit of a better shot at going to the end of the race and going longer. So if you start on a softer tyre to begin with, you're running less of a risk if that is a bit of a kerfuffle at the start. But he's got through nicely. However, Davin's nice and close. He's looking for a hunt down here. Going to try his best to get into the battle. It's been a while, but he's finally here, and he's going to look for a podium on the hard tyres, slightly fresher than Larlick. Davin closes nicely. He's going to have the DRS on the Alpine, and with a bit of DRS as well, it should be a pretty straightforward manoeuvre. To the outside line he goes, as Larlick doesn't really decide where they want to go. That forces Larlick to a slightly awkward line, and Davin's going to try and have a look around the outside, but no, not quite. They're going to have to wait here. They're going to just have to wait. They force Larlick to go across the whole chicane as they make a mistake. Gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits too many times. Davin will get ahead, and Larlick is going to drop all that time. They're also going to lose a lot of time to JJ, unfortunately. Good news for JJ, though, and they've also got a 3-second time penalty, Larlick, unfortunately for them. Davin is now going to be catching to JJ as best as they can. JJ's going to have to make a pit stop at some point as well. I think he's going to try his best to follow Zingy, of course, because Zingy is on the same strategy, so he's just trying to wait to see when the leader goes in, because obviously the leader being so quick, it would in theory be one of the best strategies to go for. I think Zingy went 19 laps on the mediums yesterday, so he was running them as long as he possibly could, and he was doing a decent job of it. Alrighty, I think I'm doing a great job. We're going to watch on board with these guys as Davin, he's got a glimpse of that P2 and he wants it. He's got that DRS, but he might not be able to get it this time. Although we did see JJ pretty tricky in a straight line, unfortunately. He's got a lot of ERS in the car, we saw, but he was struggling in a straight line, and he had to wait for Larlick to dump all their ERS to pass. JJ going into the pit lane. After all that, Davin will be promoted. 5-second time penalty for JJ in the pit lane, and he should go for a pretty straightforward strategy here. Doesn't follow Zingy after all. He is just going to keep to his own tyre, his own strategy. And out the pit lane he will go. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. Lovely stuff indeed. And he's through. Alrighty. JJ is back into the race on that hard tyre, and he's going to try and do his best to undercut Larlock here. Of course, Larlock having that spin, so Larlock does actually have a bit of a situation that they're in. Very cold tyres for now, but they will slowly warm up. And ironically, the hard tyres are pretty hard to warm up. So it's not too easy to get them into the correct operating range. It's going to take a lap or two to do so. Alrighty. 47 seconds ahead now. And he's closing up to JMO's AI, so he's going to look at lapping the other Williams. Of course, it's a disconnected car, but he's still looking pretty quick. JJ, of course, just pitting. Thingy yet to pit. They'll be next up, but by the time everybody's pitted, I don't know if Thingy will be able to get to JJ. Maybe later on in the race, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be possible. Never underestimate Thingy, though. His pace is unreal this weekend, especially in Miami. Loves the circuit. And compared to everybody else, I've heard some unpopular opinions about the Miami circuit, but Thingy seems to be one who highly regards it. Another fastest lap on 18 lap old tyres, pushing on that ERS, maybe, I don't know. Didn't look like he's really used that much. Might want to push on ERS if he's going into the pit lane. Of course, we saw him do 19 laps on these tyres to the end. We'll put some data up on the screen actually and see. So he's done 17 laps on these tyres right now, so he's got a little bit more to go, but he's pushing on the ERS, so it might be that he's just going to push, try and get to the pit lane, of course, and then have a go a little bit later on. Unless he's going to try and get DRS here, and that would help him go even faster for his quali lap, or fastest lap, but I think he's probably going to just try and overtake the AI. As he does, the AI backs out, and he goes through. I think this is probably going to be a fastest lap again, but I don't know how much by. He's used a little bit of ERS. Up by 3/10 so far. A purple sector, no surprise. In that final sector, in the sector 2, sorry. And there they go down the final sector. So they've got a lot of ERS to use. Not really pushing too hard. I think they might try and push a little bit harder later on for a fastest lap, of course. On the hard tyre, the car will be a lot lighter. And there you go. That's a 2/10 improvement. Another fastest lap there for Thingy. Is he going to go for it again? I don't quite know. Pushing through turn 3 here. Gets the car stable. Is he going to try and use that ERS? I don't quite know. No, he won't. JJ, unfortunately, makes a mistake on these tyres. So that undercut is now going to be mere impossible for Larlock. Larlock, of course, spun as well. I don't know how long the pit lane is here. So he's 26 seconds behind. That's quite a gap. That's quite a gap. I think Larlock's probably going to come out ahead. And both these guys have time penalties. A 3-second for Larlock and a 5-second for JJ. With the likelihood of a safety car coming out being almost 0, it's going to be very difficult. And he's going to have to try and catch up on pure pace. We did see JJ is faster on pure pace, but only when Larlock had run out their battery. Larlock's still looking pretty difficult on the battery right now. Not finding it ideal. They have got a red flashing light as they get to the end of straight. They're not going to be able to see it from any other point of view other than this one. But they will carry on. They will carry on. Larlock comes into the braking zone. Up the hill once again. Over the curbs. And into the final sector. 25.9 seconds is now the gap, so JG is finding the pace. They are on the fresher tyre. When will Larlock make that call to take it to the pit lane? Zingy, despite being on the disadvantaged tyres compared to the rest of the field, he is extending on everyone. So, fair play indeed. Doing a phenomenal job. And I just hope that the curse of Ferrari isn't going to hinder him. Of course, Ferrari's a lovely team. But it does mean that you get a bit of a distraction from the red. It could cause you to go into a wall, but hopefully, for Zingy's sake, he'll be good to go. And it would be nice to see Ferrari on top again, of course. I think he's going to try his best to extend these tyres for a bit of fun. Even longer, of course. He's now on 20 laps, so he's 1 lap further than he did yesterday. How long is he going to go? This is the Vim, and on that hard tyre, he's got a little bit longer to go. He's already made a pit stop, so actually he's probably just going to have to go to the end of this race. I don't know how easy it will be to go to the end of the race, because the hard tyres are not like they used to be in the old game. It's a little bit more difficult to actually get to the end. But Zingy, you can see that very hard line. On that tyre. You can see on the rear there, there's a couple lines on the rear. That's how difficult the tyres are finding it. Got to be careful that you don't push them too hard. Pit or puncture range is about 75%. I think it's the same as the old game. So once you get to that range, you're going to be risking a puncture. I think he's going to probably try and find the limit. Larlock goes into the pit lane and they attempt to put the softs on, and they can do that. They can do that. Zingy's going for a medium soft here, and he carries it again. Only 4 tenths down. Only 4 tenths down on their fastest lap. Absolutely rapid right now. Absolutely phenomenal job. Tyres are getting old. They're getting tricky. But he's still loving life. The medium's eyes tyre. It's very notorious to know Zingy does love the medium tyre. Prefers it much over the softs, as we saw that as well in the old game, of course. He just says you can push harder for longer. And the softs, they're good on 1 lap pace, but after that, they die. They die. I think his old rival Philemon also would probably say the same thing. They love to do a bit of a mix-up on the strategy, and Zingy spun it! Zingy spun it! They ride the curb very hard. They've lost the rear. Their tyres are going to be slightly more warmed up, but I don't know how much hotter they will have actually got. They close up to JJ and Larlock a little bit, of course. Larlock's now on that soft tyre, so JJ's chances of actually getting much closer isn't going to be too much. It's going to be pretty difficult to get closer. Will Zingy make it to the pit lane this time? Is he going to try and go another lap? I don't quite know. Is he going to try and wait for that tyre to puncture? I don't quite know. No, he's going to take it to the pit lane after 22 laps on these tyres. It's finally done. He finally lets these tyres rest and plonks on that hard tyre. Okay, he's going to go for the hards. Doesn't even want to try and go for the softs. The softs would be absolutely rapid, but he's gone for the hards. He's still going to be pretty quick. He's still going to be pretty quick. Alrighty. What, 23 of the 29? Moving into the pit lane. And he's going to put on a set of softs, I'd assume. And try and take away that fastest lap from Zingy if possible, I guess. He might have maybe chosen a slightly wrong tyre. Maybe he did want to go for that soft and he's accidentally plunked on the hards. We'll have to wait and see, of course. He might want to go to a set of softs on the last few laps. With the gap that he's got, he definitely has the ability to. And he just wants to allow the car to get even lighter and the tyres to be as fresh as possible. And then he'll have a go. It's a very, very possible option that he's choosing, unless he wants to go into the pit lane now and immediately change them. That is the question. He's going to go immediately into the pit lane, and he will put on the set of softs. Fair enough. He casually running over a couple members of the Ferrari crew. Nothing that we've seen before, of course, back in Bahrain. 2018, I think it was. Kimi Raikkonen, unfortunately, had a moment with his pit crew. Don't know if they did something wrong, but yeah, it's sad times for the team. But Zingy carries on. And he's now onto that soft tyre and going to try and cover off Davin's attempt at getting a fastest lap. Is Davin going to get it as he comes around the final corners? Across the line he goes. He's going to have to wait this lap and he'll have to have another go on the next one, or the current one that he's on. Rides that inside curb. Got a bit of ERS to push on as well. He's using it. He's going to have a go here. Zingy, of course, pretty much as a full battery. He hasn't really had to push. So he's good to go. Zingy making that extra pit stop has now made that gap 29 seconds. So Zingy's actually still got another opportunity to pit if he really wanted to. Probably not worth it, but it's still an opportunity. A purple sector in the first sector for Davin. No surprise on the softs. Zingy's going to get one lap fresher tyres. He's about to start his attempt at a fastest lap, I believe. Davin into the technical section, up the hill he goes, nice and tidy over the curbs, very straightforward, and into the third sector, into the fastest sector of the circuit. Now he's got the final few corners to go. And then he's going to have a look at that fastest lap. It's going to be fastest. The question is, how much by? Did he gain any time in that final sector? Across the line he goes, and it's going to be 2.8 seconds quicker, 29.2. Zingy is going to try and push that even further. We'll watch and see how he does in Sector 2. And we might as well watch as we see and complete the lap as well. Little bit of a loss of the rear, but it does allow him to take a slightly late apex. Misses that corner, unfortunately, so a bit of a messy lap here. But they're still going to be able to have another opportunity, but that's probably be it. They still go purple despite the mistakes. So they're looking pretty quick. Faster than Davin. They're doing a great job. Now down the final few corners they go, up the hill for the final time. Going to take it to the pit lane and go for another set of softs. Another set of softs. So they are going to do what I thought. They're going to go for some fresher tyres and they're going to attempt to go even quicker. So yeah, interesting. I thought they would have probably stayed out on the hards, waited a little bit and then gone for it. But no, they decide they want to do a double stop. They didn't complete this lap in the end. Davin's going to catch up, but by how much, I don't quite know. Of course, Zingy's tyres are going to be cold initially, but by the time David gains probably like 3 seconds, Zingy will be warmed up. That's if David can catch 3 seconds, because the softs are getting slightly more worn now. So I don't quite know what the time difference will be. Obviously, being very quick despite being on those extremely old medium tyres. He was a lot faster than the hard tyre, which was still in an operating window. 27 seconds, he does gain 3 seconds, but now Zingy's going to be pulling away, as the tyres are probably going to be warmed up. It is the soft tyre after all. Doesn't take too long to warm up. We'll get into the technical sector. And then he will attempt, of course, his fastest lap. David does close a little bit more. And they've gone for that lap, of course. We'll have a quick look at 29.2. They've dropped behind Larlock to go for another pit stop. They've actually dropped behind Larlock to go for another stop. They are going to be close to Larlock, so they're going to have to go again. That's a risky strategy, but of course Larlock does have that 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limit, so it might not be too bad of an idea. A 29.2 is what Zingy needs to beat. It's going to be quite possible for him. Of course, absolutely rapid. And he's going to look for a fast lap here. Cuts that inside corner as much as he can without losing the car. Rides the curbs as well. Very aggressive. Turns in once that outside curb ends. Rides the exit curb. Can be risky if you're not running a high enough ride height, but run a circuit, you do have to run a very high ride height, of course, into that final sector, towards the final sector as you get to the chicane. Looking pretty rapid. This time very tight into that corner there. Last time, of course, made that mistake and smoothly cuts the chicane very, very aggressively as well. Looking for a quick lap here. Purple sector indeed. Oh, I think that's a 1.4 second improvement on lap 27 out of 29. JJ goes for a fastest lap. Of course, they're not going to lose anything. It is a DS64 note, so they can afford to do that. On the final corner, Zingy goes. It's going to be fastest, but how much by? 2.26, 28.7 lap time. Very, very nicely done. A 29.2 is what David set. And can he improve on it? I don't quite know. He's got DRS here on Larlock, but he hasn't been able to overtake. So would that be an improvement? I don't quite know. He brakes a lot later, gains a lot of time, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get any closer for a fastest lap here. And the final corner is not going to be an improvement, unfortunately. So David took the risk, and it's not paid off, but he hasn't lost anything either. So he will keep it together for now. 29.2. It's a 5/10 difference between Zingy and himself. JJ's looking for a faster lap. Unless he's just going to try and take it home, and he just wants a comfortable tyre to win the race on. But he's going to give it a shot. And worth a shot it is. Zingy going once again. And he's going to start the final lap of the Grand Prix when he comes on the final few corners. Will he go for an improvement lap? I don't know, but he is dead on the battery, so the likelihood, no. The ERS is so significant that it's probably not going to allow you to catch up. 2 seconds slower, of course. So almost the same pace as he did that fast lap on the medium tyre. That's how beneficial the ERS is in this game. It's absolutely mega. One final corner to secure the victory, and he's going to take a double win once again. Got the final few corners to get through, and he will be there. David, he's going to be close to Larlock. He's going to be getting that DRS to help him. No ERS, so he's just going to have to wait for now. Larlick makes a mistake. That's going to be a very compromised line for the Alpine. Davin doesn't attempt to go for the move here, though. He's going to look at the DRS straights, of course, to make a bit more of a straightforward move. And then he will plonk himself into P2. Larlick, he's going to be looking for the championship to be finally over, and he'll sit on the podium to do so. A very, very nice way to celebrate. Davin's going to be nice and close, and it's probably going to be time for him to pass. Not really got that much straight line speed compared to the Alpine, but the DRS does give them the edge. Goes to the outside line anyway. Larlick tries his best to defend it. He's going to try and hold this P2 despite the time penalty, and it's still worth a shot. Zingy's got a final few corners to go, and he will win the Miami Grand Prix. Well done indeed. Thoroughly deserved. Pace was unreal. Larlick's got the final few corners to go through, but Davin's right there. He's right behind him, and he's going to be able to make the move very early on because he's so close to the back of that Alpine. Davin cuts him off, goes for the move, and interesting weaving there. That's incredibly distracting. And Davin will take a P2. And Larlick is going to take that P3 in the end to finish it off. Lovely stuff. JJ looking for the final P4. And James AI retires from the session. Alrighty. JJ on a few corners to go. It was a shame. He was looking for a good result. He's still got some good points, but it's not what he wanted, of course. But to be honest, coming in that late into the weekend, or into the race, he shouldn't be too disappointed. Still, like I said, good points in the end. So well done. Good racing for these guys. Zingy wins, though. Larlick is the champion for the Saturday tier. Well done indeed. Well done indeed. Absolutely legendary. And that does mean Larlick now has 2 titles to their name. The summer season Saturday tier, followed by the F1.5 NA/SA Championship, of course, that they won the one before last. Season 5. Alrighty, Zingy takes the win. Once again, lovely stuff. Onto the podium he goes. And that is the double for the Scotsman. Lovely stuff indeed. That 28.7 race director is here. We'll have a quick look through it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you get different race directors here. We do. We'll go through the pit stops as well. All fits on the screen. And race director. We can see it here, I think. Never mind. I think that's the same for the feature race, unfortunately. But it is what it is. We will be back for the post-race interviews. We will see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome back to the post interviews for the Miami Grand Prix. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody to interview, but we will say a couple words. Well done to Larlick. Well done, of course, first to Zingy. Amazing race today. Very well deserved. Don't really have anything much to say other than speechless because making that gap is absolutely incredible. Larlick, very well deserved. Extremely consistent, and I'm very, very happy for them. Very, very dedicated as well, determined, and yeah, competing in every single race but one. I can't really say much more, but really well done. Also, them a double world a double champion. So well done. That is the Saturday tier over. That is the summer season over. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure to share the experience with you, and we will see you very, very soon for the next official season in around about early September, maybe late August, but probably around early September. Other than that, we'll see you next Tuesday for the open lobbies and maybe some more other streams next weekend. We'll have a think, we'll have a look. But other than that, thank you very much for watching and good night.